good morning and welcome to the Wake.Show. I am Chris Fisher. I'm Fisher. I've been going back and forth on that one recently, and we open this morning on my sleeping little dogs. That's Roxy there on your left, Joey there on your right, and they will be here for the duration of the program today. Hi, how's it going? Over my right shoulder, we have Samantha on social media. She'll be here for a couple minutes. How are you doing this morning, Samantha?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm swell. Thanks for asking. Before we get into promoting the show, there was some breaking news coming out of Pasco County this morning.
Yeah. So according to the Pasco County Sheriff's Office, they are now asking parents to remind their children not to share rumors about possible school threats on social media.
My bad.
Ooh. Got it?
There
cool.
you go.
All right.
Good recovery.
So I guess a couple students from Chasco Elementary School and 5A High School were sending threats on social media or rumors about threats on social media. So
that's an interesting one because you're saying, hey, don't share rumors, but you don't know it's a rumor. You hear somebody say this about that. You want to put it on social media just in case.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know how you deal with that one.
Yeah.
All right, so we had an event last night. Well, let me go ahead and pull up stuff you should know because one of the things we'll be talking about today is the event here at Bake More Pies last night. It was out of my comfort zone. This is not going to work as well as I thought.
There you go.
If we do this, I really like, we're constantly, and thank you so much for everybody who tunes in every single day or as much as you possibly can, because I'm always like tinkering. I don't know anything about video and television and all that kind of stuff, so I'm just kind of tinkering with things myself. Not only that, but I don't know that I necessarily like your standard shot. Like, this is a little bit more of a standard shot kind of a thing, but not really. Even we put some stuff in the background there to change it up a little bit. So anyway, I like this, but I didn't realize that once I'm not going to be able to use that angle as soon as son of a. All right, well, hold on.
It's all right. You could cut me out.
There we go. Wait, no. I think we can get us both in. Get us both in. Maybe even wide. Oh, no, wrong way. There we go.
Perfect.
We're cooking with good grease. See, problem solved. Look at that. All right, so coming up on the show today, we will be talking about, Fergie had a perfect statement. She released a great statement after America went ape shit over her rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. We'll get to that. Stormy Daniels is in Tampa over the weekend, and we'll get to a review. Yes, a review of her performance at the Dollhouse. The last mass shooting, one of the quotes coming out of Parkland, and one of the students saying this will be the last mass shooting. Obviously, you can't control that kind of stuff like that, but the temperature is rising, and the pressure to do something. It seems like let me pose this to you then. Are we reaching a tipping point? It feels like it, but sometimes you can get this push right up there and it feels like, there's going to be some big changes, something happening. And then all of a sudden, it just rolls back. It does feel like, we are at that tipping point. But I don't know what that means. So your thoughts on that. We'll come back to that here in just a little bit. Florida mayor's hands tied is an interesting story I found this morning about how on the local level, mayors and counties, so cities and counties, can't implement their own gun regulations if they wanted to. Well, I guess they could. But here's what happened is a certain political party had control a few years back, and they were all over the NRA. Sorry, what I was trying to do there was eat a banana. I love banana. I'm a big fan of banana. And so that's what that motion was. It was nothing inappropriate. So they were eating bananas with the NRA and just really love the taste of those bananas. So they passed bullshit legislation saying that cities and counties can't enact their own laws concerning gun control, gun regulation, which is interesting because this particular political party always claims to be the party of small government and to let the local level handle their shit. Unless it's one of their things that, of course, is putting millions of dollars into their own pockets, then they'll make sure they take care of, they'll make sure that government comes clamping down on you. So we'll come back to, well, boy, I don't know. I feel like I went over the entire story there, but we'll come back to that one. A big win for the lobster emoji. This is a kind of a fun story. We'll come back to that. As a senator in Maine, I don't know if it's a fun story or not, because now that I think about it, you got a senator in Maine wasting time and trying to get a couple extra legs in the lobster emoji. But at the same time, you want to have some fun and be a real human being as well. So we'll come back to that one. A disgusting story about a woman who is drying her underwear on a flight. The little the fan thing right above your head. I'll show you the video coming up. And she's just holding her underwear up and drying it. And so what Sam and I were talking about earlier, I don't know if there's a graphic for this, but I think we're going to start either a daily or a weekly feature. It's the story of the day. Some of you might be like, wait, Fish, hold on. I want to see this underwear first. I want to see where this is going first before I give you any. I don't know. Maybe you see this and go, she could do that on my plane, but I don't think so. I don't think that's the issue.
I don't think she gets a pass.
Nah. I mean, even if it were cute little lacy something, I still be like, oh, lady, come on. And we had a Bake More Pies event last night here. It was a little, well, actually it wasn't a bake. I don't know what it was, to be honest with you. All I know is that Cords invited me. And Chris McCarty was here performing. There was like about 30. It was a gentleman's only thing. And I don't know that I've ever been to something like that before. I felt weird, to be honest with you. So we'll talk about that. No, we'll talk about that right now. That was weird.
The Empty Bottle Club?
The Empty Bottle Club. I'm so glad that I was invited. Thank you so much, Cords. I really had a good time. But my anxiety was building. Because well, the cool thing about this too is I feel like I can talk about. I'm realizing the anxiety that I've had all of my life, just recently. But it never registered as anxiety earlier. You're just uncomfortable. You just didn't want to be someplace. You're like, get me the F out of here now, and then you just got out of there and whatever. You moved on to something else. Not realizing that there was something that was driving that. And one of the places that I have never felt comfortable are at the fancy places, the formal events, the events where people are dressing up and there's a lot of money there. And this wasn't one of those. Everybody was really down to earth. There was a lot of money floating around here, but everybody was really cool and down to earth. So in the end, everything was cool. But leading into it, have you ever, those I think it's called the white party with 13 ugly men. Does that sound about right? I want to say it's a fancy affair they do every single year. The white party, everybody dresses in all white, and the women look all good, and the guys are all shave their chest and their arms and whatever. I'm being stereotypical and rude because I'm not comfortable in those situations, and I apologize. That was my anxiety lashing out. So even once I got on the radio here in Tampa, you would think, well, because I felt like I'm in high school. Every time I walk into one of those rooms, I feel like that I'm back in high school, and they're all the Windermere kids, and I'm the one Ocoee kid that wandered into the room. To put that another way, they're all the rich kids, and I'm the kid from the other side of the tracks. So I felt like that yesterday. It's out of my comfort zone. I do not want to come back up here. It is Monday, and Monday's a very important day for me. The reason I'm telling you all this is because I told you, we'll address mental health issues as we go. And unfortunately, for those of you tuning in every single day, you're watching a guy who may or may not be borderline something. And if he is, he likely will never admit it. But one thing that he will admit, he likes to talk about himself in third person in these uncomfortable moments. So get here. Well, so here's all the mounting anxiety, right? One, this party, because actually I didn't even have anxiety going into yesterday morning. It wasn't until Cords came in after the show and he's like, all right, so you might want to bring, you have to bring a special bottle of liquor, special bottle. And I'm like, what do you mean, like a 4-gallon bottle of Jack Daniels? I mean, that's like, no. Like he goes, the cheapest bottle tonight will probably be like a $75 bottle or something. Maybe there might be a $50 bottle or something. I'm like, oh God. I go, I can't do this, Sam. I go, I can't go to my wife with this, right?
Yeah.
There's no way in hell. We are very money conscious right now in the Fisher household.
Right. And
she would rip my shit if I said, honey, remember how last week when I got drunk and then you and I had to talk and I'm not going to drink liquor anymore and I'm gonna seek some help. I'm gonna go get talk to a therapist. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Well, let me tell you about the party tonight I'm going to. It's all really, really rich guys with lots of cigars and liquor. But then Corge was like, don't worry about it. I'll take care of your bottle for you tonight. And so I didn't have to have that conversation with my wife. And I didn't drink any liquor. I had wine. It was delicious.
There you go.
And that was that. So that was the Bake More Pies event. But Chris McCarty was here. So I want to play for you guys. Actually, we can do that later in the show. We'll come back to that. That's why I put it at the end there. We'll end on a high. We'll end it with some music.
Yeah.
Because Chris McCarty came up here and performed in the studio, and then we put TVs and speakers out around the complex so anybody that was outside, could, see everything. His finger, he's finding out today whether or not it's broken, but it is huge. And so this is where you'd hold his pick. And this finger is huge. This knuckle is huge. And he can't play. So he switches and uses his middle finger last night, right? Now, this blows my mind. I have no musical talent whatsoever. Somebody that can play a guitar or a piano amazes me anyway. But to watch, and by the way, you also have guys who play guitar who are, strummers, that they're strumming through the chords and singing songs. But then you got, pickers. But guys, they just, and that's him. That's him. And I couldn't believe it. He just went last night. Popped a couple of Advil, went, drank some liquor, went. And then he stopped at one point. He's like, man, I really probably should put some ice on this. It was just huge. So he took a little break, put some ice on it, had some more Advil, and then fired it back up. So if you want to check out both performances, we got them split up in two at Bake More Pies on Facebook at Bake More Pies. Mm-hmm. But I do want to play one of his songs that he did last night. You did Dave Matthews' Ants March. Was it Ants Marching? And he did a couple of Dave Matthews songs actually last night, but I want to pull up one of them here because he's also one of those guys that kind of like Ed Sheeran that just have all that pedal work and they make their own loops and shit like that and whatever. It's amazing. So we'll end the show on that. How's everything looking at social media so far there, Sam?
It's looking great. I'm actually about to look at some of the insights for the Wake.Show.
All right.
See how we're doing.
John Sweeney Jr., good morning. Elliot Hoops, good morning. From John, I was walking to the store to buy my Mega and Powerball and saw what looked like a homemade rifle with a scope in the window of an apartment. What the on 86th Street here on Bay Ridge.
What?
So with everything going on, I wasn't going to take a chance. I called the police. They came immediately. They saw it and went in and determined that it was not real but a piece of homemade art. I know guns, and I know that those parts could be used on other guns, but the police determined that it was not a threat and left it with the person and left. I'm glad that I reported this, as we have an elementary school a block away and high school down the street, and would hate myself if something happened if I didn't say anything. Personally, I would have taken the piece in for forensics along with the person for questioning, but they decided not to. I hope that was the right decision they made, especially with all the crap going on in the country, and not to be called a racist due to the fact that we have a large Muslim population here. But at least I tried. Wait, what's that last part have to do with anything, John? Did I miss something? Where did race come into play?
It was going so well.
What? I don't know. Wait. I hope that was the right decision that I made.
I don't want to decipher it.
With all the crap going on, and not to be called a racist due to the fact we have a large Muslim population here. But at least was the person Muslim?
That's what I was trying to figure out. Like, I don't know where it came into play.
Or John, are you saying, we do have a lot of Muslims around here, so if you see a gun peeking out of a window, you need to go check it out? I don't know what that you had. We're good all the way up until that last sentence or two, but it's not going. But so I think John wanted to share this too because you started off the day with the story coming out of Pasco County where the cops are going, hey, listen, be careful getting on social media, spreading rumors. Rumors are starting to spread about different things. But how do you stop that? I don't know. All right, so we'll come back to this. Have you seen this yet, Sam? How much more time do I have with you? How much more conversation do I have with you?
You're good. I'm doing some insights right now. So,
okay. So, Fergie released a statement about her national anthem performance at the NBA All-Star Game, admitting her rendition didn't strike the intended tone. I'm very curious on what you think about this, because on the one hand, I'm going to read this to you in a second, and I think it's perfect. I'm going to let you know right out of the box, I think this was a perfect statement. However, I was reading other statements from artists going, an artist should never apologize for taking chances on things. That's what art is. You're stretching, your boundaries, you're testing limits and this and this and this and this creatively. And so she went after something. It didn't come off quite the way she wanted to, but don't apologize for it. I personally disagree. Now let's get to it. The singer released the following statement on Monday. She said, "I've always been honored and proud to perform the national anthem. And last night I wanted to try something special for the NBA. I'm a risk taker artistically, but clearly this rendition did not strike the intended tone. I love this country and honestly tried my best." Oh, come on, look at this. Look at this. I think my eyes are getting a little leaky because of that statement. I think it's so patriotic and so perfect. I think there's some water in there somewhere.
That was nice. That was very genuine.
I agree with you. I think that's probably the first thing that I like about it, is that this definitely comes off genuine. It doesn't come off as something like she's annoyed and somebody is forcing her to write it. Exactly. It seems like, artistically she goes, shit. I went out there, I had this great thing, and it just didn't hit, and I messed it up. So I'm apologize that it didn't strike the chord that it was supposed to. But I love this country and honestly tried my best. So what do you think, though, about the other artists going, Fergie, never apologize for your art? What do you think about that part of it?
I mean, I think that in this case, there was such a focus on this performance that it wouldn't be right of her not to say something. I think sometimes you can slide under the radar if it's like a little bit of a PR scandal around it, but this one is just, it was everywhere. She needed to say something, and I think she said the perfect thing, so I think it'll be fine. Exactly.
I think, well, speaking of art, there's my art right there.
Oh, they are art.
That is art. I think you're right there. Artists don't necessarily need to ever apologize for their art. There's a certain amount of truth to that, but it's also very rare that your art, whatever it was, whoops, I'm sorry, there we go. Then it's also very rare for your art to strike, either positively or negatively, become the center of attention, basically. Right. So when your art becomes the center of attention en masse, then she, not that she had to, she did not owe. Do you feel like she owed America an apology after that?
I don't think she owed them an apology, but I definitely think a statement of any sort was needed.
I agree. She did not owe me an apology. She didn't owe any veterans an apology on that one. But it didn't come off the way she wanted to, and she apologized. And I bet you she knocks it out of the park next time. Yeah. I would love, because she rehearsed this. This wasn't something that was off the cuff either.
Right.
I'm curious if in rehearsal she had nailed, if we saw the rehearsal, we were like, oh wow, she nailed it in rehearsal. She just effed it up when she got out there, or if it was destined for failure the entire time. Next up, Stormy Daniels was in town, ladies and gentlemen. Did you go? Did you go to the Dollhouse over the weekend? In the center of the nightclub, we go to TampaBay.com now. First of all, if you don't know who Stormy, there she is. There's Stormy. Wait, sorry, zoomed in too much. My bad. Let's back it up there. Let's be professional. So there's Stormy Daniels. In the center of the nightclub, between the cigar case and bustling bar, a giant screen blankets the back wall. Usually ads for drink specials and coming attractions scroll across. But Friday night, a life-size picture of President Donald Trump appeared at the stripper pole. Then there he was, puckering beside a porn star. In another shot, he's squeezing the blonde shoulders, beaming at her big boobs. She looked bored. Stormy...
That's a great sentence. That's a great sentence.
Right, this isn't my blog. This is something coming from TampaBay.com, which is the St. Pete Times, or the Tampa Bay Times, sorry. So there he was, puckering beside a porn star. In another shot, he's squeezing the blonde shoulders, beaming at her big boobs. She looks bored. Quote, Stormy Daniels read a huge headline, "Make America Horny Again." Shows at the Dollhouse typically start after midnight, but the owner had scheduled an early bird performance so young professionals could come right after work. So retirees could enjoy a lap dance before bed.
This is written so well.
I wonder whoever wrote this, if they're just like giggling through this or this is just, business. As I'd be giggling the whole time as soon as I saw, but I'm juvenile. As soon as I saw the news, I knew this was going to blow up. Said the owner. Stormy was there 3 years ago. All right, so I want to get to the part. Hold on, wait. She's 38. She's 38, 36 double D, raising a young daughter. They didn't care. Most of the 70 people at the matinee did not know Stormy Daniels' real name is Stephanie Gregory Clifford. Nobody cares what her real name is. They didn't care that she has starred in more than 150 adult films like Good Will Humping and Porking with Pride. Oh, good. Who wrote this? Good for you. I'm glad. Lane Gregory.
Oh, I've met her. She's lovely.
She is. Yeah. I'm so happy that you were able to get. I bet she had fun with the story.
She's very intelligent.
Yeah, I bet she had a lot of fun with the story. I was on the way in this morning. I was listening to News 970 WFLA, and they had brought up this story, and they were talking about how the strippers that work there normally were just crushing her, saying she was old and flabby and had no moves. It was a horrible. They were all excited that Stormy Daniels was rolling through. They were like, "Oh my gosh, you got a real pro. Let's see what she's bringing to the table." And I guess she just went up there, and that was about it. All right, enough of Stormy Daniels. The Dollhouse. When I was a little kid, first grade, it would bother me when, we'd watch a movie in class, and at the end, the movie would always say the end. Remember that? It'd always say the end. But all the kids in the class would say the end. Everybody would say it out loud. This was first grade. I remember I was 6 years old. All the kids would say the end. And I remember in my head, it would just make me angry because it was only one E, and if the end would be two E's. Great story, Fish. Great story. Let's get back to stuff you should know. And here we go.
Our insights look really good.
All right, so what does that mean? Our insights look good.
So it means that our reach and the amount of people liking our page has increased since the last week.
Oh.
So we have 4 new page likes.
Okay.
Which is a 33% increase. So good. And we have more actions on the page, so people who are commenting and engaging. So keep that up.
Thank you for your commenting and engaging.
Yep.
Appreciate that. All right. Next up, Alan. I thought she did. Oh, Alan, you were there? Alan Lizardo says he thought she did all right.
Fair
so
enough.
I'm assuming you were there. All right. Well, you can also see how the other girls might be a little catty there. Like all the Stormy Daniels getting all this attention. She's making all this money. And they're like, well, she better be, when she walks in here, she better be all that. And she comes in and 38 and been through some stuff. And I guess just goes up there and goes through the motions according to some of the other people. Or maybe not. Maybe she didn't go through. He said she did all right. Maybe she did all right. These other girls are just waiting for, just one little thing to tee off on her.
Probably.
Probably. All right. Thank you, and thank you. All right, you guys ready for the meat? You ready for some of the serious stuff of the day? By the way, I'm going to let you in on some a little, we're talking about insights. Here's a little insight. After having, what was her name? Ella
Jett.
Ella Jett was in here on Friday, and she's the lead singer of a band called Ella Jett.
And Future Soul.
She was very lovely. And we were talking about, putting sets together, writing music, this and that. And she was talking about Paul McCartney's, or she told me about Paul McCartney's W, where you start off high, on a high note. Everybody's having a good time. You bring it down. You bring it back up. You bring it down. And then you bring it back up. Well, we're going to do the bring it up, bring it down, and then bring it up.
U.
So we're doing it's not quite the W. I'm going to get down that W for the set list here. We're going to get that W down. All right, you know what? We'll make it a W. How about this? We'll make it a W. No, I can't. See, that's the weird thing.
You can't go from something like a shooting to something lighthearted. Yeah.
And then come back to the shoot, because that's basically what I'm going to be doing, because the next 3 stories.
I think you'll be forgiven. It's all right.
All right. So it's the U format. Not putting together the set list. So the next few stories are about the Parkland shooting. We are determined to be the last mass shooting, is a quote coming out of yesterday. And the two you see on the screen here are two of the faces that you're seeing the most on cable news. Very articulate and very passionate. Not afraid, are not camera shy at all, not afraid to look an adult in the eye and tell them exactly how they feel as well. To those who say it's too soon after the school massacre to talk about politics and gun control, the students of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High see your point. Quote, we can respect that. We've lost people. It's important to mourn, says Junior Cameron Caskey. Here's a time to talk about gun control. March 24th, she goes on to say, my message is for the people in office is you're either with us or against us. We are losing lives while adults are playing around. Unquote. Now, be forewarned, they're coming for the NRA. And any politician who takes money from the gun lobbyist, Caskey and his classmates said. The NRA did not immediately return CNN's call seeking a comment. I was talking to Johnny Torres last night about this because he now works, he's a representative, well, he works for Senator Marco Rubio, and he's a district manager, or sorry, a district something, representative. So basically for the people in like the surrounding 6 counties here, you know, in the Bay Area, Tampa Bay, if you are calling the senator's office to make a complaint or something like that in your district, then he will be likely taking your phone call. So I asked him about this. I go, what? You know, it seems different this time. You had politicians like Jeb Bush and Governor Kasich, you know, coming out very passionately, calling for some kind of reform, change in gun control. You're seeing those who have supported conservatives and Republicans, you know, for decades, have raised hundreds of millions of dollars for conservative causes. Say no longer will conservatives be getting money from them unless they support an assault rifle ban. So I asked him, I go, so is this going to just kind of be the news of the day? We're getting all worked up and people are going to be yelling and screaming change, but nothing is going to happen. And he goes, nah, this feels like a tipping point. This feels like something. And remember, this is somebody who had 400 phone calls within a matter of like 2 hours last Thursday when he was here. And the reason that we know this is because he was here at Bake More Pies for that event we were just talking about with Ella Jett and her band. And while he was here I think they said in a 20-minute span, he got 40 phone calls.
He has 3 cell phones, and I guess they were maxed out. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, that's another thing too. He was saying, he goes, if you go to my Facebook page, if you saw it, he goes, now I know where Apple or iPhone maxes out, or maybe it's AT&T, I'm not sure, whoever his service is, whoever does this, but maxes out on missed calls, 200. He said after the 200th missed call, it didn't register any more missed calls after that. So this does feel different, and they are going after politicians who support the NRA. They are not looking to take away people's guns. They are going after the NRA, and they're a very powerful lobby, obviously. However, not everybody supports them. Not everybody supports them, and I've gun enthusiasts in my own life, my own world, that are huge gun advocates, have an array of them, but are not members of the NRA and are not fans of the NRA, and they all have different reasons for why. So just because somebody's going after the NRA doesn't mean that they're going after guns altogether. They're a very powerful lobby that controls a lot of politicians. So they're going to do something about that. Why don't we do this? Why don't we, because I'm going to hit 2 more of these horrible stories, and then we're going to play something from Chris McCarty last night. It's not the horrible stories. It's just stuff that's, attached to the shooting coming out of Parkland. One is parents and educators. This is, again, from ABC Action News. Parents, educators looking for solutions to end school violence, a statewide safety seminar. And so she was invited by Governor Rick Scott, talking about the Sarasota County School Board member, Bridget Ziegler. is packing up to head to Tallahassee on Tuesday. She was invited by Governor Rick Scott to participate in a school safety seminar. Educators from across the state will be looking at school violence solutions. So I see the story this morning, and the first thing that pops in my head is I hear other people going, you're just going to hold some seminars, talk about stuff, and nothing's going to happen, and getting all angry and going back and you have to do something about guns. The way I see this moving forward is that we need to, just like with immigration, it's got to be a comprehensive approach to this. So go take care of some things when it comes to guns. For instance, the assault rifle ban. If you want to ban them all the assault rifles, knock yourself out. It's just very difficult to. That's easier said than done, because what is an assault rifle is you just tweak something one way, tweak something the other way, and it changes everything. I guess one of the things that we saw yesterday that kind of makes sense to me is you're able to buy an assault rifle, what they call an assault rifle, at 18 now. Just bump that up to 21. I don't know how much that helps, but here's the thing: have your seminar. Mr. Scott, Governor Scott, have the seminars around. Have as many conversations you possibly can. The gun people, compromise. NRA, you're getting ready. I think you're going to meet your match on this one. Oh, what? You don't know how big and bad we are. Well, we'll see. But it might be time to look in your own ranks and make some compromises, make some changes. The mental health side of things, politicians need to come to the table, and with more money, they just keep defunding and defunding and defunding the mental health programs here in America, going all the way back to the 80s when they started shutting down mental institutions across the country. We either take care of our people or we don't. All right? Make some decisions here. We either take care of our people, or we just start. Just go ahead and become the 1%, circle the wagons, or whoever's in power, the top 1, 10, 5, 10%, whoever that is, circle the wagons, do your thing, and the rest of us will just scrounge for whatever shit is left over. Or you guys come together and do something about mental health and and understand the brain more here in America. Next up is, and then this will be the last of that bottom of the U. Okay, we'll start bringing the show back up here.
There you go.
And that is, I was very surprised to see that the mayors and counties here in the Bay Area, here in Florida, cannot tackle this themselves. They're not allowed to pass any regulations. So a city and a county can't do anything. And I was surprised. 7 years, but here's how it went down. 7 years ago, the Republican-controlled legislature even created a $5,000 fine it can impose on mayors if they try to enforce stricter regulations on firearms. This happened back during a time where they had control of everything. And so this is where the NRA comes in with their pants down, and the legislators there go, give me how can I please you? How much can I please you? And so this is what they did. They go, hey, well, one of the things you can do is make sure that even on the local level, they can't do anything to ban any of our weapons. But the Republicans go, well, we can't do that because we're small government. And that would be going against exactly the Republican platform, because then that would be us becoming big government, telling the local level that they can't do stuff. And that's not who we are as a part. Well, at least that's what we tell people every cycle. But that NRA money, I bet you that is delicious. And so they passed this law. And so cities, and you would think it'd be the opposite. You'd think it would be the party of big government that would try something like this. But remember, both of these parties, they're not who they say they are. That's why I'm no party affiliation. Enough of politics. All right, I'm going to play a little something from last night. You said about the second half is about 5 minutes in. Why don't you leave me alone? All right. I want to get to some Chris McCarty from last. What is happening? I'm hitting the wrong button, aren't I? There we go. So you said about 5 minutes in. Yeah. Okay, is that him setting the loops right there? Yep. Okay. So I'm going to just play a little bit of from Latin. This is... All right, here we go. I'll leave you with... We'll have a little fun with some music here. And we'll be back with our guest coming up on the Wake.Show. I queued up to a point where I think what we're hearing is I was sending him pictures of himself.
I got people watching. I got to play.
Oh, or I don't know who he was talking to there. There we go.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So this is what you guys don't know. There's a lot of people outside.
Quit talking to your damn phone and talk to the cameras.
I'm gonna play some Dave Matthews. You see it? Yeah.
Up in the morning, just his teeth biting and leaves rolling, never changes a thing. The weekend's the week begins, sheep day. We look at each other, wondering what the other is thinking of, but we'll never say a thing. And these crimes between us grow deeper, shady chances. They step in, live until they're quiet in time, lights down, up and down. You're still visiting his mommy sheet. He's still well, he's concerned deep against them, and remembers being small, playing under the table and dreaming shady chances. Placed him in a box until it quiet to time. I'd stare you up and down. Driving along this highway, all these cars that left on the sidewalk, people in every direction. No words exchanged, no time to exchange, no belong. The little lands on margin, red and black and yellow weaving. They all do it the same. They all do it the same way. In the middle of tempting the box hour, we do talk show, but we lost. Program cut in the morning, loosen, on the fence, but not to offend. No shady chances. Placed him in the box until it quiet inside. Lights down, you up and down. Lights down, you won't deny.
There we go. That was from last night here at Bakemore Pies. Chris McCartney, welcome to the Wake.Show. Good morning. My name is Chris Fisher. I want to check some stuff before we bring in our next guest here. You are the perfect person. All right, so this is Joe. You are the perfect person to say this to. I love your show, and you're an awesome person. I'm not the one to stand up in front of groups, but this time it needs to be said. I think a law needs to be passed that the face names associates need to not be said or showed when these shootings happen. These jagoffs want to be immortalized, maybe if the media is made to take this away. Man, you really hit on. So as soon as I'm trying to bring a guest in here and we're going to talk about Gasparilla Music Festival, really hit on something. David, do you want to talk any politics today?
No, as my role with the Gasparilla Music Foundation nonprofit, we're very explicitly forbid from talking politics.
Okay, all right. So let me answer this because This has been an issue of mine going back to the 90s, going back to Columbine, and that is during these mass shootings or after these things happen, there'll be a certain part of the media that focuses on this, though we're not going to say the name of the person. We're not going to say the name of the person. But I almost feel like that is a cop-out. Like we're trying in that moment, like we don't know how to deal with such a humongous tragedy that our brain is just searching for anything. And so one of the things that we will lock onto is this thought of, well, they're doing it just to become infamous themselves, so let's not give them that, and let's not, say their names. Okay, if you want to add that to the pile of things that we're going to be talking about, we can talk about it. I just don't know that that's going to really solve anything because I have a feeling that even if you took that away, it wouldn't change anything. Unless, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's data out there. There's studies out there that show that the reason that a lot of these personalities or these these personalities gravitates towards moments like that are because of vision of grandeur, and they know that their name's going to get out there, and maybe it'll it'll change the world in the way they want, whatever it is that their motive is. So we can add that to that. I don't want that to be the final answer. All right, so let's have some fun. Let's move on from the horrible stories of the day and talking about some really cool things that are happening here in the Bay Area coming up. Gasparilla Music Festival is right around the corner, and my guest today is Mr. David Kelly. Cox.
Yeah.
David Cox. How are you, sir?
Good, Chris. How are you?
Thank you for being here. So, by the way, I was just showing you some Chris McCarty, and you are familiar with Chris.
Oh yeah. I've seen Chris many times. It's been a while. Last few times in with the band, I haven't seen that looping stuff he's doing. That's really cool.
It is very cool.
Yeah.
He has been opening up for. Do you know the country star or country artist Chase Rice?
Yeah. That's a pretty big up and comer in the country scene.
Yeah,
sure.
and he's saying that one of the reasons that he has him on tour is because he's enamored by his pedal work. And I guess he wants to learn some of that stuff himself. You know, Ed Sheeran has obviously made that internationally famous now.
Yeah.
So I guess some of these other guys want to add that to their repertoire. So
that's cool. Yeah, there's some great ones out there. Andrew Bird does a lot of that stuff that's really cool. And yeah, obviously Ed Sheeran, huge. But it's really cool. And I can't even comprehend how they lay all that down.
So you're not a musician yourself?
No.
Is this how you end up in the position you're in? You're just you love music so much you wish you could be a part of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, love music and just want to create a vibrant arts and cultural scene in Tampa. So all
right, well let's start with this right here. I think I've got. Is this one of the ads?
Yeah, this is a little promo video for this year's festival, which is coming up March 10th and 11th, so just a couple weeks.
Here we go. Well, there we go. Very excited about that. Coming up March 10th and 11th. How did the Gasparilla Music Festival come to be before we get into the bands?
It sort of came out. I was actually a board member for the Gasparilla International Film Festival for a number of years and had volunteered at a young age for the Gasparilla Art Festival when I was in high school and just thought it made sense to have a music festival to kind of tie that whole month in together to really create a cool, vibrant arts month in downtown Tampa. So that was kind of where it came from, and then got a few guys that were willing to help out, guys and gals willing to help out. And I think the first year we were one day and had about 5,000 people, and we're going into year 7 where it's 2 days and about 20,000 people. So
what about some of the hurdles getting it up off the ground? Because every year that goes by you learn a little bit more, it becomes a little bit more easy, a little bit more turnkey, but those first couple years are learning experiences.
Yeah, I mean there's any number. Again, we're a little different than a typical festival, and my role is not really a typical promoter, but we're a very broad community base. So we have companies that support us, we have individuals, and then we also have ticket sales to the general public. So really just finding a way to bring all that together was a hurdle. The first year going into the festival, we had sold about 500 tickets.
Before day
of.
Oh my gosh, you guys had to be freaking out.
We were freaking out, and we had about 4,500 walk-ups. So
that's
I could say
amazing.
The one thing we did right that year is we had a big box office set up, so we luckily were able to handle it. But so it could have gone either way, and really been a struggle.
Because if the weather hadn't cooperated that day, that's one of the reasons why people will wait until day of, is they're waiting for the weather.
Yeah, I mean that's a big challenge with outdoor festivals, and so we've kind of run into everything. you know, the talent's gotten more expensive. The you know, just everything, you know, just the cost of everything kind of goes up every year.
How many artists do you have this time?
We'll have about 43 total bands.
Jeez.
And we kick off every year with, we have a 50-piece Southern Baptist gospel choir from
Is that the
St.
Spam?
Pete.
Is that the Spam All Stars?
No, Spam All Stars is closing out the Kylie Stage Sunday. That's an Afro-Cuban band from Miami.
Nice.
They're awesome. They're one of the bands that we've had back a couple times because they have such a highly requested here in Tampa, like big following here. So
Yeah, you have Spoon, The Roots.
yeah, Spoon. Very excited for that. They're really like on top of their game right now. The Roots obviously are just all over the place, and they're very happy about the recent Eagles Super Bowl win. So they should be in very good spirits. And we have Father John Misty closing out Sunday, who he was nominated for 2 Grammy Awards this year. Kind of a folk rock, kind of psychedelic band. And so we're pretty excited for him as well.
And what's his name?
Father John Misty.
Father John. Would he be under F?
Yep.
All
under
right.
F.
No.
And
There he is.
I don't believe he's ordained. But don't take my word for it. He may be.
You said he's closing things out on Sunday?
Yep. Yeah, he'll be closing things out. Very cool guy. He was the drummer for the Fleet Foxes, who are actually playing in Tampa this weekend.
Okay.
So he left and did his own thing a few years ago, and has really gotten a huge following.
So Father John Misty is the brainchild of singer-songwriter Josh Tillman. So this is Josh Tillman?
Yes.
And
yep.
then, okay, all right. And then Father John Misty is not him, it's the band.
Correct.
Okay,
correct,
one of
yeah.
those situations.
Well, it's his sort of alter, I think.
I love it.
Alter
So
personality.
His alter ego?
Yes.
And you said it was a psychedelic?
Yeah, it's sort of, I don't know how to describe it. I guess kind of sort of rock, but a little folksy and a little psychedelic. It's kind of all over the place. It's definitely, very palpable. There's almost kind of an R&B to his act a little bit, the way his stage performance. But yeah, he's just kind of doing his own thing. We have, as part of our mission, our nonprofit's mission, we have 50% of the bands that we book every year are either local, regional, and sometimes just state of Florida, like Spam All Stars. We kind of consider them one of our local regional bands, even though they're from South Florida. But we really do a great job of getting like the best up and coming local artists and getting them out there and giving them a chance. Again, we have 4 sort of main stages, and then we have a 5th stage that's in the Children's Museum, where we have kids programming going on all day Sunday.
Kids programming? What do you mean by kids programming?
This year,
like kids bands? Kids bops?
Well, we have some of both. We don't have kids bop yet. We're working towards that. They're a little pricey. This year though, we have a great band, the Imagination Movers. So they had a pretty long running TV show. They're a Disney band, and they're from New Orleans, but really cool kids band.
When you say Disney band, what does that mean?
They play them. They have shows, and like between shows, they play their videos. But they also had like their own show, and I think they have a web show maybe still on Disney. So they're in the
kids alt rock, huh?
Yeah, a lot of fun. A lot of confetti cannons and all kinds of cool things for the kids, and we really build out the top floor of that museum with a cool stage and light show. We want the kids that are there, because a lot of them, it's their first time seeing live music, and we really want it to be like a concert experience for them when they get there. So it's pretty cool thing, and it's 100% free. The whole museum is open free all day that day. So that's usually the type of band that would play at like the Straz and do 4 shows over a weekend. And
okay,
this is an opportunity for kids to get in and see them for free.
When you were first putting together the Gasparilla Music Festival 7 years ago, because you were talking about the mission statement of the charity aspect to this, and you wanted to make sure that this is a show that included at least 50% local bands. What was your vision? What was your vision, going into year one?
Well, we had one vision. We really wanted to promote the sort of the arts and cultural scene in Tampa. So, you know, we couldn't do a festival without trying to highlight the local talent that we have. So that was a big part of it. And then the other sort of mission based thing when we were trying to plan this out was, it was a little bit selfish, but, we wanted to really see what we could do to instill music and music education in really young kids, like primary school, middle school. And so we started one of our program services called Recycled Tunes, and we donate instruments to local Title I schools in Hillsborough and Pinellas County. So, and when I say selfish a little bit, you know, I had the vision like, well, you know, this is a nonprofit. We want this to be here 30 years from now, like the New Orleans Jazz Fest or the Newport Folk Festival. You know, we want this thing to be around, you know, well past our time. And so how do we get these kids like ingrained into what we're doing at a very early age? So it was kind of twofold, but it's been a really successful program for us. You know, we quickly learned a lot about the deficiencies in funding in the counties, particularly in the school system for the arts. And you know, whenever there's a budget crunch, that's kind of the first thing that goes. And as we've gotten more into it, we see the studies that the kids that do learn music at a very early age, even if they don't stick with it their whole life, as they grow up, they test better. Their math testing's better. Their verbal testing's better. They're generally more well socialized. Their memory skills are better. So there's whole reasons why it's a very healthy component, and you know, our part to try to continue to grow, at least to give them the tools to learn music, is a big part of our organization now.
When you're talking to some of the bigger national acts, and you said it's gotten pricier over the years, of course it does.
Sure.
When you're talking to their people, is it just about dollars and cents, or do you go, hey, this is what we do with this, what we've done with this festival, and they bring down what they normally would charge because they want to be a part of something like that?
We do. I mean, we're making efforts more and more, you know, and that word's getting out. You know, we typically deal with managers and agents, so the more over time, the more of them that get to come down with the bands and kind of see what we're all about. It's certainly helping us, you know, attract bigger names to come down and play. But
so the more years that you go, there's kind of a buzz that gets created. Hey, you want to play that show? They treat the artists great. They're doing great stuff there in Tampa.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, from the early days of us, like, you know, just trying to sell a concept to get anyone to show up and play a festival as a startup, you know, that was difficult to, you know, now, you know, people actually reaching out and, you know, we're on their calendars and knowing that it's coming. You know, we have some advantage and disadvantage. We're in March, so we're typically before the whole main festival season kicks off in the rest of the country because it's just too cold everywhere. So that really gets going like late May through the summer up north when there's just festivals everywhere. So we're a little bit early. And, you know, and I say that's good and bad because typically, you know, we're one-off event. So artists are just going to fly into Tampa just to play at our event versus kind of being routed through to a bunch of different festivals.
And to let you guys in a little bit of insight, you know, back when I was at 97X, the alternative rock station here in town, we had our festival. We have our festival every single year in December. One of the keys to the success of that show is what he was just talking about, routing. So there are bands that are already out on tour that maybe are coming, you know, to the Southeast or to Florida. They're maybe down south in Miami on a Saturday. We try to get them here on a Sunday and stuff like that. When he talks about one-off, that's a lot more difficult of a show to put together because you're trying to find bands that might be touring and somewhere else in the country have 2 days off, and that's why I call it a one-off on their tour. And you go, hey, we'll fly you all the way down to Florida, play your set, hop you right back on put you right back on a plane, and turn around and head you, send you back out. So it is. You guys, do you play off of any routing at all?
Yeah, there's some, and there's a festival in Savannah, Georgia. It's called Savannah Stopover, and that was really built as like a stopover for sort of young bands trying to get to South by Southwest in Austin, which is the week after us. So and they're Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday. So usually there's some really good bands coming through there that will get to come down to Tampa from Savannah as well. But on the music festival side, there's really, again, occasionally we'll get some bands that are looking for dates in Florida that time of year, and and maybe they'll play Miami and then come up here, or play up in the Panhandle and come here. But it's a pretty small percentage. It's hard to time that out for us.
What about experiences for the fans out there once they get out there? Is there ways to meet the roots in some of these bands, signing up for autograph sessions and stuff like that?
We have a couple. Our presenting sponsor this year is Cigar City Brewing. So they have a contest where I believe the winner will get a meet and greet with one of the artists. We're also working with Replay Guitar Exchange, so there's a couple meet and greets. So I think you kind of got to check through their social channels on how you can enter to win those. We're our festival, again, going back to us being a nonprofit. The entire design of sort of what we try to do came from a very fan-centric experience. So, we've tried to keep our prices down as low as we can. So a general admission ticket, it starts at $30 for Sunday. That's like 22 bands, some really cool stuff. But the way the whole site's set up, you really can bounce around to all these different stages and just get really intimate with the performances. I mean, you can really just walk right up a lot of times of the day and just, see somebody that you've never heard of necessarily, but really just kind of jump right into the music. And so it's a big part of how we design it. People that like discovering new music, or people, even bands that they like, it's really a great venue and setup for those type of people. Well,
David Cox, it was actually absolutely a pleasure having you by to talk about the Gasparilla Music Festival. And where should be the best place for people to go ahead and get their tickets?
Yeah, go ahead. You can go to gasparillamusic.com, and we got full lineup ticket information. Or if you already know you want to get your tickets, just go to gmftickets.com, and it'll take you right to the ticket page. Anyway, thank you very much for having me, and I look forward to seeing everybody out March 10th and 11th.
I will see you on the 10th. I have a wedding, but on the 11th I am free all day long, and so I'm looking forward to seeing you out there. It's going to be a good day. Cool. And Joey and Roxy will let you out there. All right. Thank you, David. We'll see you soon. And once again, Gasparilla Music Festival coming up in March. Thank you so much for stopping by. All right. Let's see. I do think I have one more story that I wanted to. Oh yeah, I remember now. Good. They're not serious stories. They're fun. We'll end on an up note. And one has to do with a lobster emoji, and the other has to do with a woman drying her underwear mid-flight. So we'll come back to that. All right, look at that. So this is one of those stories that really mean nothing whatsoever. It just reminds us that it's okay to have a little bit of fun with life. And that is, I mean, granted, you can get annoyed at life and have fun with life at the same time. Senator Angus King of Maine has finally netted his state a lobster emoji. In September, the independent senator sent a letter to California-based Unicode Consortium pressing for the emoji. And here's the senator here. Pressing for the emoji, highlighting the crustacean's economic and cultural value in Maine. On Wednesday, they announced the emoji would be added to its library for a move that King hailed as great news. He thanked the emoji creating company for recognizing the impact of its critical crustacean in Maine and across the country. They announced 156 other new emojis Wednesdays besides the coveted lobster, including a pirate flag. That's for us here in the Bay Area. I'm sure that is specific for us. A softball, a female superhero, and a mosquito. But alas, lobster aficionados won't be able to use the emoji just yet. The new emojis are scheduled to be released in June, according to a company news release. King fittingly signed off the tweet with his name in emoji form, a cow for Angus, and a crown for King. Look, oh yeah, look at that. So now we know that is perfect. Angus King. That's a great way to remember somebody's name. And lastly, this morning, this is the video right here. Here's the picture. You guys see it? There's a still. Let me get to the video. I have to think, man. I'm wondering if she videotaped this and was making, like, if she's on one of those sites, you know, one of those sites where people pay you to do stuff. This is a bizarre moment. A cheeky female air passenger was caught on camera using an overhead air vent to dry her knickers. The unnamed woman was flying with Ural Airlines from the resort city of Antalya in southern Turkey to the Russian capital of Moscow. Eyewitnesses said the woman did not seem even remotely embarrassed as she spent at least 20 minutes. I don't know why this grosses me out. Because, I don't want to get too graphic. I'm a big fan of some stuff, but I don't know why this woman airing out her underwear on a plane just makes me go. I wanted to call it the story of the day. Other passengers were reportedly too shocked to comment on the woman's unusual and very open laundry technique. Look at that. It's just disgusting. One anonymous eyewitness said everybody was looking with interest and confusion, but everybody remained silent. However, the video has sparked plenty of comments after it was posted on several video sharing platforms. Quote, maybe the takeoff was sort of extreme, so now she has to dry those, unquote. Okay, just take them off and throw them away. If they're that damp, just take them off and throw them away. I have a feeling somebody else in another aisle was with this woman, and this is something that they do, and he videotaped the entire thing, put it on the internet, and she made a ton of money afterwards. One online poster suggested the pants may have belonged to a child traveling. Okay, wait a second. So maybe those weren't her underwears, but little kids' pants? There's a video, and I don't know why it's moved on to the. I hate the way that they do this. On these sites these days, where the original video. I wonder if I do this, if the original video will come back up. I bet it does. Or I bet nothing comes up. All right, see, it's trying to. It's trying. Hidden behind that banner, you see right here. That's what I'm trying to show you, but it is not cooperating here. Bueno. Oh well. So you'll just get the pixelated still. It gets a job done. I wanted to play some good solid video stuff for you, but that'll have to get it done. Does that make you make the same face, or is it obviously talking to the guys, we have a tendency to be a little bit more on the perverted side, or does it make you go to each his own? I'm not judging. To each his or her own. All right, let's say, oh wait, where are my littles? I see one of them. I see Roxy. Hi, Roxy. Where's Jojo? Joey. Hi, buddy. He's hiding behind the camera there. Oh, we'll do this one last time. I'm going to wrap things up. I'm going to turn this camera on. I'm going to see what happens. Just see what kind of shot that is. I don't know if it's going to be a good shot or not. I think I'm going to like this. Well, that's all right. Not enough light back there. Not enough light for him. All right, hold on. I want to see, they probably won't stay, but I'm going to try. There we go. It's getting better. A little more light on Roxy over there. It's not too shabby. I swear one day I'm just going to come in and just keep the camera there and just do the new, just go through all the stories of the day, not try to get fancy with any graphics. Maybe that's what I should do. I should do a side podcast where it's I go through the shitty news of the day while you watch my dogs relax. No? All right, not feeling it. All right, thank you so much for joining again today. John Sweeney, you definitely did the right thing. I think hi, honey. All right. That's it for today. Hey, Fish, you really should come up with a better way to end your show. Instead of, well, I ran out of stuff. Let's wrap. I think you're right on that one. Should come up with some kind of a quote of the day, a thought of the day. Some, go out and be thanks for tuning into the Wake.Show. Now you go be, I I'm going to go be the positive force in my community I was always meant to be. Okay, that was a little wordy.